Hi, I'm Phil Vongsvong, licensed realtor in Georgia and Alabama and part of the Best Darn Real Estate team here at Keller Williams Realty River Cities. What I'd like to talk about today is a subject that's come up a few times this week, the buyer's brokerage agreement, or buyer's agency. Now, many agents are uncomfortable even bringing this up for fear of scaring people away. Now, what is a buyer's brokerage agreement? A buyer's brokerage agreement is a legal document that basically states that I am now acting as your representative in a given real estate transaction from start to finish. That means locating the prospective home, negotiating the terms of the purchase, and filling out the necessary real estate documents to bring the transaction to a close. In other words, to help you become a homeowner. Now, a little history in buyer's agency. Prior to the 1990s, in the United States and Canada, a buyer working with a real estate agent to locate and purchase a home was a customer of that agent, since the common law in most states meant brokers only represented the sellers. Since then, most states have passed statute laws to create buyer's agency. Today, a buyer working with a real estate brokerage may choose to enter into a brokerage agreement to be represented and become a client. If a buyer chooses not to, then they remain a customer of the broker, who is then a sub-agent of the seller's broker. Now, what's this mean for you? Well, entering into a buyer's agency agreement with me does create certain duties for a buyer. First and foremost, it means you agree to work exclusively with me. That means if you have a question about real estate or a particular property, I'm the person you'll call to get your answers. Most agents will respect an agency agreement, and if they find you have an agent working with you, will refer your questions back to your agent. Besides, as a buyer, anything you say to a seller's agent could give them an unfair advantage during the negotiation process. Now, having an agency agreement also means that you're committed to finding a home and that you'll do your part by being reasonably available to tour homes, respond in a timely manner to communications, provide accurate information, and become familiar with the terms of the purchase agreement. What's a buyer's agency mean to me? As soon as we sign a brokerage agreement, you move from becoming my customer to being my client. Now, that may not sound all that important, or maybe you think it's just semantics, but let's take a closer look at these two words. Webster's defines customer as one that purchases a commodity or service, while client is defined as one that is under the protection of another, or a person who engages the professional advice or services of another. There's a big difference there. And that's what it means to me. This document is my commitment to you that throughout this transaction I'll be there for you, to advise you, to negotiate for you, and to always keep your best interest as my main objective. It means a lot to me when a client puts that trust in me, and I won't let them down. I want to wrap this up by also pointing out that it is custom in our market for the sellers to pay the commission to the real estate brokers. And this was negotiated between the seller and their agent long before you and I ever walked into their home as a potential buyer. What this means is that you as a buyer can enlist the professional services of a realtor and receive the protection accorded a client for free. The only caveat on this is to pick an agent you are comfortable with, because we'll be there with you from beginning to end. Interview a couple of agents and choose the one you know you can count on to advise you honestly, and who will always remember, whether it's good news or bad, your best interest is the most important aspect of the transaction. Thank you for watching. I'm Phil Vongsvong, and remember, you're always home with the Best Darn Real Estate team at Keller Williams Realty River Cities.